and see if it works without having to do anything.
All right. Well.
Hey, we're live. Hey.
Oh heck.
Oh shoot.
Oh heck. Well, that means we got to keep working on this thing, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely live. It just buzzed my phone.
Bzz.
Ba-bum. Oh yeah, we want this.
Well, we're just hanging out here bullshitting. We might as well be streaming, right?
I suppose so. Record 8. DLC comes out.
Might as well. Oh shit.
7th.
Audacity is engaged. Hey, we're doing a full show at the Redemption in January.
Oh yeah.
We're talking like 3 hours. We got
really wow. I'm out of town the second week of January.
It is on the 13th. It's a Friday night.
I might be at. Yeah, I'm out of town. I'll be in St. Louis.
It's we're actually going to get paid for it.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, whatever people pay to come see us, you have to sell tickets.
Huh? Is it like
They charge like a $10 cover to go downstairs where the live music is, and that's where we are, and whatever they bring in, we get.
Oh, cool.
And then they sell all the
alcohol you can always
and the food and all that.
Get people in the doors.
Yep, should be. I mean, we got a big freaking set we're planning, so obviously for 3 hours we got to play. So it's basically like every song we've ever learned together as a band we're playing.
Really? 3 hours? 3 hours is a lot of music.
Well, he says that's with breaks. You can take breaks. Like, hey, we're going to take a 10-minute break. That type of thing. We'll be right back. Whatever. They put on the music, and we can take breaks. And we're basically the entertainment for the night, you know? So they have like bands like the Spasmatics. You ever seen those guys?
I don't think so, but are they like tell me that they have like a giant light show that if you've got you know, like the epilepsy.
They've been around for a while. They're like nerdcore. Like,
oh really?
Yeah, like like nerdcore guys. Anyway, they've been around for a while. 2000. But they show up all the time.
Are they local?
They're apparently from Los Angeles, but they play there fairly often.
Huh.
He says that when an out of town band comes through, they make about $1,500. But they're like an out of band that's shit coming that actually has people that give a shit.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
So we'll make like, I mean, if I can get 40 people to show up, just some of my friends and family and all of our bandmates, and we invite everybody, then we'll make, you know, $400 or $500, and then we'll have a tip jar out and all that, and then we'll end up using that to fund the recording of our next 2 singles we're working on. So we have 2 more songs ready to record. We just haven't done it yet, and this will basically be able to fund that. So I'll make it.
Who is your songwriter?
We all kind of write songs. So 2 of the songs was written by John, one by Mark, and one by Ryan, and then I'm working on something.
I gotta say, you've got the best name in the band. Like everyone else is like, I'm Larry, I'm Greg,
Mark, John, and LeGrand. We are TGRI. So they're pretty stoked to have us, though, because they have a lot of like 80s cover bands that come in, and we play like 90s and more modern stuff that people our age will, you know.
Yeah.
So they're pretty excited to have like a different style of music in there. So if it works out all right, we'll be back probably in the summer and do another big old set again, and now we'll see.
Cool.
Do we look up? Is there like full news? Have you looked up any?
I'm just kind of looking up everything. Anything that seems big and important right now. Oh, Yuji Naka. I gotta put that in there. None of it is like good enough to be normal news.
The guys from. Did you see the article about the dudes from what made God of War Ragnarok? They want to make a Castlevania game.
That sounds great.
Doesn't that sound cool? Yep.
On the other hand, we were just talking. Hey, did you ever figure out the thing for Lords of Shadow?
I
Did you figure that
I
out?
haven't even played it since.
I totally. I was gonna immediately go and look, and then I just immediately got.
I also did not even fire it back up again. It had been a few days since I had played it, so it wasn't on top of mind.
Probably now, if you go back, you'll just figure it out right away.
Probably. What is this Witcher 3 Wild Hunt upgrade?
I haven't seen that. I don't know what that is.
Apparently tomorrow they're doing a debut of what this upgrade is going to look like, what it's going to be. So the cool part about let me tell you about what CD Projekt Red is doing is they're not calling it a remaster or a whatever. They're just saying free next gen upgrade, and they're just giving it away. Like they could easily remaster it for PS5 and then sell it for $50 again, and people would buy it. But they're doing free next gen update, so basically, get the game, I guess. We can put that on there. I don't know. I think it's already been announced. It's already been news in the past. It's just tomorrow they're actually showing something, which means that we'll probably have better information about it next week.
Huh.
Oh, here you go. Here's an article from Eurogamer. Microsoft says it offered Sony 10-year deal to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that'd be all right.
Where do you want that?
That can be regular news if it's worth talking about.
I mean, no. But it's fine. You would think that I wonder what Sony would have to pay Microsoft to be able to keep it on there, if anything. You think they would charge?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say with the kind of money that's been thrown around lately. They might. I don't know.
Well, why would they make a deal? What kind of deal is it if they're not getting anything out of it? Right?
Right. Right.
What the? Xbox. Holy shit. Xbox Series S is on sale for $240 for Black Friday.
I've seen a few, like a range of those.
Yeah, according to CNN, $250 at Microsoft, $240 at Amazon, $250 at Best Buy.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Which is weird because usually it's a pretty controlled price. So that is kind of weird.
It's sold out on Amazon.
Oh, really?
If those are in stock, that's going to be the hot shit this holiday, I think. Xbox Series S's. I mean, last year you couldn't get them, right?
Right.
As soon as those become like widely available. Available on Best Buy. $250. I mean, that's worth mentioning, I guess, in the deals.
Yes.
Xbox Series S. Black Friday.
Also, Sony is offering some deals on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, Steam sale just happened. Sony sale. Oh yeah, PlayStation Plus has discounts, right?
Yeah, the actual. So it's PlayStation Plus Essential is $44.99, so it's $15 off. Extra is like $25 off. And a premium
By the
subscription
way,
is
I
like
forgot to unsub,
30.
and so it just rebuild me.
Did you for the whole year or?
Yeah, for the whole year.
I hate that.
$120 or whatever it was. It was a surprise. I forgot about it. Like I knew it was October. I just never canceled it. But now I don't have to play Assassin's Creed Valhalla with the disc.
Oh.
I can just play it digitally.
Here's one. Blizzard's taking all of its games down in China.
Oh wow, that's a big deal.
We can put that in the news.
Yeah. Star Citizen is free to play until the end of November.
Really? Can you stream it on anything? Because that's what I want to know. I don't want to install anything.
Of course you can't stream that on anything.
I just want it to be on like GeForce Now. Okay, I think that should be.
Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has been submitted to the Korean Games Classification Board. When is that set to come out?
Oh, sorry, which one?
New Legend of Zelda game.
Oh, actually, they might have even said next year. That's one of those where I would be hesitant to say, except I think they actually did say. So I don't know, next year maybe.
Well, if they're submitted to get reviewed, I'm sure it's ready to go. Or getting there. Oh, did you put the Yuji Naka stuff on there?
Yeah, I put it at the end.
Oh my gosh. How much here's?
Okay, well, that's respectable, I think. New releases, though, did you look at that? I didn't. Here, let's take a look.
I have not.
Let's see. November 17th to 23rd.
Oh shit!
Evil West.
When does that Crisis Core game come out?
I totally forgot. What made you even think of that?
I just saw a news article for it.
Oh. Evil West.
Crisis Core. What is it called? Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. Oh my gosh.
Goat Simulator.
December 13th.
Chompy Chomp Chomp Party. There is a Destiny gun if ever I've heard one.
Not bad.
Oh. I guess Just Dance 2023 came out.
Of course it did. Comes out for Christmas every year.
Yeah, I don't tend to be plugged into that particular.
Dark Pictures Anthology, you put that on there?
I did.
Finding Paradise is on Switch for $12. It's like $3 on Steam.
What is?
Finding Paradise.
Oh, I'm not familiar.
That is the moon game. Try to the moon. To the moon.
To the moon. Oh, is that the sequel?
Yeah.
Huh. You know, I always remember that you said playing to the moon was a thing to do.
It is
I
a
just
thing to do.
have not actually done done
If you're
that.
in the mood for a story, and that's about it.
Huh.
To the Moon is on sale for $2.29. To the Moon, a bird story, and Finding Paradise.
All right, I think that's probably everything. Have all the big games come out already, or is there? Yeah, they should be out by now.
Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, Ragnarok just came out, so that was like the last big game.
Yeah.
So the last real big game is Final Fantasy VII. Oh, Pokemon. Did you put that on there? I'm sure you did.
I did. Yep. All right, I am recording. Wah, 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 wah. I'm just going to crank that down a little bit and lean in.
I'll record too. I'm not going to lean in, but I will turn it down.
That's helpful.
Okay.
All righty.
I think I was pretty peaked last time.
A little bit.
A little bit?
Not too bad.
A little loud? A little too loud for you there, bud?
Little assertive.
All right. I'm glad we're doing this early.
Yes.
Okay, let's clap. 1, 2, 3. What the hell? 27 seconds about.
Okay.
Why am I getting... Now we're good. Let me shut my door.
All right. Actually, I should shut my door too. Hold on.
Katie, did you leave?
I got my finger stuck in my headphones. That's the first time that's ever happened before. All right.
There's no snare in my headphones. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Game by Show podcast. It's November 22nd, 2022, and 11 times 2 equals 22, and it's 11, 22, 22.
I mean, you can't argue with the arithmetic.
You know, people don't think that math be like it is, but it's super do. You know what I mean?
This is truly the last palindrome of the year.
Oh, yeah. I think that's a palindrome. Close enough.
Oh, no, it's a palindrome.
Okay, palindrome it is. Well, welcome to the show, everybody. It's just Jeremy and I tonight. Say hi,
Hey,
Jeremy.
guys. Hey, hi, Jeremy.
Hey, Jeremy. What's new?
Well, holiday week, right?
Oh, yeah. It's
gotta
big holiday.
I started thawing my turkey.
Just barely?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's not. I mean, it's more of an innuendo than anything. But
all right, cool.
Yeah. No, I don't cook. I don't cook anything.
Oh, you don't?
I used to make like fancy food for my kids, but they never cared. So they would just eat cereal or something.
Do you need somewhere to go on Thanksgiving, Jeremy?
I've got a place. I've got a place this year. So.
Well, if you need a place, you've always got a place with us.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, bud. I got my turkey's in the brine right now.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I am going to devote a little bit of time during the holiday break to some kind of video game. I just don't know what yet. I think the ones on my list this year, God of War Ragnarok. I'm hyped, but still not buy yet on that one. I want the new, or was it new Tales from the Borderlands. Mm-hmm. That's another one that's out.
Okay.
And then trying to think, there was something else that I was kind of had on my mind, and I forget what it was. So I might pick something out. And
I put God of War Ragnarok on my Christmas list, so we'll see.
Did you? Oh,
yeah.
That's cool.
I mean,
time to find out if your family loves you.
Yeah, I put a lot of things on my Christmas list. Not that I need anything.
I know.
You get old. And
actually, I'm really proud of my middle teenagers, and the younger of the two. I haven't really asked the older one, but the younger one is like, Dad, I just don't want to, because I was like, oh, well, you know, what do you think you might want for Christmas? And she's like, you know, I just kind of want to take it easy. And I'm like, you know what? I'm so proud of you. I was like really happy about that.
I just want time, Dad. Can you give me more
time?
Right. Like, oh, that's when you know it's all over.
Yeah, that's right. No, actually, no, I can't give you that. But
yeah, I have a buddy who he says that he doesn't get his kids Christmas gifts. They just plan like experiences and trips, and that's what they spend their Christmas money on.
Yeah, I think that's fine too. I think it's a good opportunity to just like take it easy. And I know that's easy to say when there's always somebody who's, you know, like somebody's brining your turkey right now and, you know, running around to get everything set up. And you know, that's fine, but And over the last 4 to 5 years, I have tried to mindfully cultivate just like a take it easy sort of attitude around this time of year, and it's been good. So if you're out there listening and the holidays are hyped up, stressful, it's hard. And I even remember the first couple of years, I was just like, oh no, I don't have this. I didn't do this. I didn't do. And I was still, I just had to like wrestle myself to the ground. And I think I'm in a good place now with it. So it's good.
Yeah, I try not to get stressed either.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, it's easier to say than to do, but just practicing, I think, is important, and just trying to be okay with that. I think that's it's just it's just a good angle to take.
All right.
Take it easy with your favorite Game Bytes show podcast. We have like 500 episodes to choose from. Just curl up,
at least
curl up next to the fire, and you take it easy and just let us handle everything. We'll take care of it.
So we need to talk about a game that I got for Christmas last year.
Okay.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Really? This is actually what you find? Okay. All right.
As mentioned, I guess we talked about it a couple weeks ago, but I had fired up Assassin's Creed Origins again. Did we talk about that on the show?
A little, just like vaguely.
I like to think I mentioned it at the very least.
Because I was saying that the only way I was going to play that game was in the education mode, and I think I might do the same thing for Valhalla. I'm just like, I'm not going to do any of the assassination stuff anymore. I think it does. Didn't they just... I know that... Here's the thing. Spoiler alert for the new speedrun. They're not doing any more content updates now, so...
Well, they've released like 2 major expansions. Or not expansions, but big DLC packs.
Yeah, they did their version of Ragnarok, which is probably cool.
Ragnarok, and they have another one in there. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah. So how is it?
Well, I finished Assassin's Creed Origins, and I wanted more Assassin's Creed, and I know that's a weird thing to say, but I did. And I didn't want to play Odyssey. And I don't know why. I think a lot of people really like Odyssey, and I played quite a bit of it, and I fell off of that. I think I'll eventually make my way back to it, but I wanted to play Valhalla because, well, I bought it.
Yeah,
and it's been sitting there for a while, and I hadn't played it yet. And as it turns out, it's now a part of PlayStation Plus's whatever premium or not premium.
Oh yeah, even the extra
has like all the Ubisoft games, like
like everything, and all the Ratchet and Clanks are on there now too.
Yeah. Except for the new one, right?
Yeah, correct. Yes.
Yeah, the new one's not on there yet. Anyway, so I had to. So what that means is I was able to just install it and not have to put my disc in to play it because I have the disc version on the PlayStation 5. Anyway.
Oh.
I really, really, really like Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Good. I thought you were going to say don't like.
And I really, really don't know why. And I think the reason has to be is that it feels like it feels like an Assassin's Creed game, but at the same time, something about the tone, the setting, the characters, what you're actually doing, like
drink some mead from the mead horn in the land of the warriors.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like an Assassin's Creed story yet.
Right.
Aside from like, hey, we need to assassinate these dudes, and hey, we need to whatever. So,
yeah,
it's the storyline is it starts out up in Norway, and you're a Viking, and you're doing Viking stuff, and you're raiding, villages and killing people.
I got a question about the starting. Do they even bother to do the whole animus thing anymore? Or are they just like, nope, this is just...
No, they do.
Do they? Okay, all right.
And it's really weird because they actually popped me out of the animus. And so some relative of Desmond Miles is like hanging out with me now.
Yeah.
And he popped in at the end of Assassin's Creed Origins. And this game actually has a lot of throwbacks. Like, they've been doing a pretty good job, at least in this game. I've noticed it more in this game than other games, where there'll be references to past Assassin's Creed stories. And not the Desmond out of the Animus stuff, but like the historical stuff. Like, hey, there was this... You'll find like a scroll, and it'll mention something about the character from Assassin's Creed Origins. Like, what's his name? Bayek came up a few times in conversation with the assassin dudes or whatever. And so, but they do still bother with the Animus. Like, there's a part in this game where it's like you're sitting there running around as like Viking man, and all of a sudden it starts glitching out. And you're not running around yet. It's like there's a part of the story where, spoilers, your parents get killed. And you're a young nondescript genderless baby, a kid, like an 8-year-old. And the whole point is you're not supposed to be able to tell if it's a girl or a boy.
A boy or a girl, yeah.
And so after the scene happens where you escape after your parents get killed and or whatever, then all of a sudden like everything starts getting all glitchy, and you hear somebody from the 20th century like, "Hey, oh my gosh, something's happening! Like, what's going on?" And then she's like, "Oh, there's a glitch. Like, you need to choose which path you want to go, and you can pick whether you want to play as girl Eivor, which is the name of the character, or boy Eivor, or you can also choose something which I don't know what it means, but it says, 'Let the Animus decide,' and I don't know what that means, but." You have those 3 choices, and the cool part is you can actually change back and forth whenever you want. So if you don't want to play, like in the case of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, there's Cassandra and the other dude, whatever his name was.
Something with an M, I want to say.
I played Cassandra, so I don't remember.
Yeah,
but the thing is that actually has story ramifications because the other character did things depending on what you chose.
Yeah.
So
like, you would like play it through twice or whatever too.
Well, you could. Like Cassandra was the main character and her brother was like the villain of the game, or vice versa, depending on which you chose. In this case, you can kind of just switch at will between the characters, and I actually tend to lean towards the female version of Eivor because she sounds more like a Viking. The boy version of Eivor kind of sounds like a pansy, and I don't really like it.
Oh no!
He doesn't sound like a mean Viking. Like he doesn't sound like a dude. He's just wants to murder dudes.
Yeah.
But girl Eivor, man, she's got some pent up rage in there, some God of War level. And she's angry, and she sounds more rough, like gruff, like a Viking should sound. So
yeah, sure.
But the other cool part about this game is the Assassin's stuff hasn't really been laid on very thick yet. Basically, your adopted brother has been out traveling the world, and he's been down to Greece, and he's been down to Italy, and he's taken his longboats with his crew, and he went to go, I don't know, pillage and find treasure.
Went on a sabbatical to find himself out in the world, traveling the world.
And while he's out traveling around, he meets up with these assassins, right, in like some European country, and they're like, "Hey," and so they start talking about it. And as it turns out, the guy that killed your parents happens to be a target of the assassins, right? So the assassins actually hitch a ride back with your adopted brother back up to Norway because they have this hit. They have this, a contract to go kill this dude that killed your parents because he's part of the Order, i.e. the Templars, right?
Right.
So the whole Templar thing comes back around or whatever. So at some point early in the story, like the only part of the assassins that I've even dealt with, they're like, "Hey, your brother's like, hey, I have this gift for you," and he gives you like one of those hidden blades, those little armband blades, with a little hidden blade, whatever it's called in Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, hidden blade,
right? And
when they go back in time, wasn't the whole thing like you'd have to cut off your finger, like even in the? So now, like, I never really thought about this.
So it's actually pretty funny. It's actually a pretty funny. Well, that was the thing, is like you had to actually cut off your finger to be able to use it, right? That was part of the in Assassin's Creed Altair. Altair had to do that, I think.
Right.
Anyway, and so she goes to put it on, and she puts it on like not like on her wrist, like on her wrist on the underside, but on the top. So the blade's like poking out on the top, like Predator, right?
Yeah.
And so the assassin guy's like, "Hey, it's supposed to be down here because you got to hide the blade when you go up to attack somebody." And she goes, "Well, I don't want to lose my finger like you." Or she says something like that, like, "I don't want to lose my finger like you." And he's like, "Anyways, I want my enemies to know that I'm coming." So she puts it on top like Predator style, and that's basically the whole Assassin's.
That's how they get around it.
That's how she and they kind of, and she's like has this conversation like, "Hey, do you want me to be part of your Assassins club?" And they're like, "Yeah, nah, it's fine, like whatever." And the one dude was kind of pissed that they gave her this hidden blade, and stuff like that. And now I have like an Assassin's guild in my camp, and they like send me out on contracts to kill people. So anyway, as it turns out, the game actually doesn't take place in Norway. I think eventually you make your way back there. But they send you to England, and so the whole game takes place in England. So you're running around Worcestershire.
I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense.
Worcestershire, and you're running around like
that's pronounced Worcester.
Worcestershire.
No, just
London.
Worcester.
And so there's all the cities, so you're actually running around England, which is actually pretty interesting. So it's all like 4th century, 6th century England. So like the Christians are there, and the whole thing is going on. And,
yeah, right.
And the remnants of the Roman civilization when they came and conquered England.
Yeah, that's like prime King Arthur territory.
Oh yeah. So I don't know if it gets to that point, but so at this point I'm kind of I decided to peace out from Norway because I'm pissed off, and I leave with my brother, and we go down there to establish a new base for us and our clan and our crew, right? Meanwhile, you're like driving your boat around these rivers and pillaging, other little cities and making allies. And so the game has like the Assassin's Creed like feel, and you go to synchronization points and you hide in bushes and crouch walk and stab people, but she's a lot more aggressive with it. And I found that whenever I played like other Assassin's Creed games, I wanted to play with like quick attacks and double swords and stuff like that. And now that I'm playing as a Viking assassin, like I have a big two-handed axe, and that's my weapon. And I just go and I don't even try to be sneaky. Like I'll murder a couple people, but if they see me, I don't care. I just fight. And I just, I'm a Viking. Like I don't care. And the cool thing is you can also raid. So as you're raiding these other villages to get supplies to take back to your village to build it up, you actually are driving your boat with your crew, and you roll up to a town, and you hit the triangle button, and it's like raid. And your whole crew gets out, and they run with you into the village, and you all just fight together.
That's fun.
And it's like a big old battle. You fight, you find the chest, you get your supplies, and you get out.
Do you have to maintain your head count and stuff? Can you lose dudes?
Well, dudes can get knocked down, and you can go and revive them and pick them up and stuff like that. So then you're building out your camp back at base, and the whole story right now is has nothing to do with Assassin's Creeding, aside from the Assassin's guy saying, "Yo, we got these targets from the Templars," or they called them the New Order or something, Ancient Order or something like that, whatever it was established in Origins, and which I just finished, and I should know the name, but I don't. And so the whole thing is you got to kill these dudes, but they're all part of the main story. And my brother's like, "Yo, you got to go make some allies with these other groups." And so you go to these different towns and you meet up with their leaders, and you're like, "Hey, you want to be buds?" And they're like, "Well, we got this problem." You're like, "Well, I can help you with your problem." So you help them out. You go through a quest line with them, and then suddenly now they're your allies, and then they can use their town and all their services. And so the whole goal is to build up this alliance and build up your own town and your own.
Are you meeting Leif Erikson? Are you going to go discover America and stuff like that?
I hope
are there
so.
Historical? Yeah.
I don't know yet. Nothing historical yet on that I've noticed. There, at least maybe I don't know European history enough, but there aren't a lot of named characters that I've come in contact with. The ending of Assassin's Creed Origins was you killing Caesar, right? That was the end of that game. And the Cleopatra's in it, and there's all these
right everybody.
Alexander the Great is referenced, and you go to his grave, and you have to find it, all that type of stuff. And this game so far has been, running around broken down Roman ruins from when Rome was in power, and old castles and stuff like that. And then it's a lot of that new era of England where they're still building up all that stuff, and so it's a lot of just towns that are just being formed and stuff like that, where you see kind of the beginnings of a major city in the future, but it's just a small town. So anyway, I'm really digging the feel of it, and I'm really liking the combat. There's a really cool skill tree system that's kind of almost like a sphere grid. It's huge. It's more abilities, and it's a lot less one-off abilities like in Assassin's Creed Origins. We're oh, now you can do this. It's little minor stat upgrades. So there's different branches you can take, and one will take you down more of an assassin's stealthy tree, and one will take you down a fighter tree, and one will take you down a bow and arrow tree. But you'll get little minor upgrades. So it'll be +5 to attack and +10 to health, and depending on which direction you go, you'll get more stealth damage, or you'll get more range damage, or more defense for your shield, and you can kind of. There's different branches and stuff, the special abilities and stuff like that. And so your overall power level is not tied to your level. In Assassin's Creed Origins, and I believe in Odyssey as well, it was hey, you don't want to go to this area until you're level 40 or whatever. Right? Does that sound familiar? And so this game, all the different areas are tied to power level. And so every time you get a skill point, which you get 2 every time you level up, you add those and your power increases by 2.
And that's the progression that lets you.
So there is no level per se. It's more hey, here's this bar. And when you fill it up, you get 2 extra skill points.
I mean, I think that's a good compromise between having a full RPG type system and having nothing. Is to say we'll progress you, but it's a simple it's a meter.
Yeah, and it's less. And you can. And the thing is, it's the same as Assassin's Creed Origins or Odyssey, where if you fight somebody that's too high level, you ain't going to do any damage to them.
Right.
So it still has that same concept there. It's just. The skill progression is a little bit different. There's also a lot of really cool weapon stuff that you can do. So you can upgrade all of your weapons and all of your armor. There's different. So every piece of armor or weapon has It's either from the wolf or the bear or the raven, so it's tied to those aspects or whatever. And so depending on which direction you go, like the bear is more tied to like damage, like warrior type stuff. The stealth stuff is more the wolf, and then the range is the raven, or vice versa, or something like that. And so,
do you have like a bird? Is there like, do you have a raven?
You have a raven.
Eagle vision now.
Yeah, you have a raven that flies around. It's not as powerful. At least maybe I haven't unlocked it yet, but it's not as good as other raven. It doesn't like mark dudes, but you get an ability pretty early on that allows you to see. If you're hidden, it allows you to see where everybody is basically around you, so you don't have to worry about flying around and marking everyone like you've had to do in the other games. You just kind of hang out and you automatically get it. But you can upgrade your gear, so you'll spend resources, wood and leather and iron, and you upgrade your armor, you upgrade your weapons, and then you can actually enhance their quality. And so they all start as like these basic, gray weapons, and then you can spend additional resources to kind of level them up and increase their quality, which gives them additional bonuses and gives them rune slots where you can apply runes to them. But the coolest part about it is you can actually downgrade your weapons too. So you say like, oh, I put all these resources into axes, but now I want to try out hammers, or I want to try out daggers. So you just basically can downgrade all your weapons and apply all your resources to another tree. The same thing with the skill system is you just hit a button and it resets every single skill point you want, or you can pull individual ones off and rebuild everything at any given moment. So there's no penalty. There's penalty. You have to pay a little bit of money to downgrade your weapons, but there's no penalty to reset your skills. So I'm constantly fiddling with stuff and seeing like, oh, here's the thing I might want to get. I'm going to undo these and I'm going to go that direction really quick and try that out. And so there's it's really open that way. So it feels less like Origins felt really constricted, where there's only one real thing you can do. Like it's right. It wasn't very it wasn't as open ended, I suppose, as this one. So anyway, I'm liking it. I know that when it came out, it was kind of, I want to say, everyone thought it was a really good game, but no one was
people
really
were like, yeah, it's Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. And for some reason, like it's really hitting something good with me. Yeah, and I probably put maybe, I don't know, 15 hours into it. I had a day off. I was sick the other day, and so I sat down and played for like 6 hours straight. And it was fantastic. And so it's really good. And I think that it's worth checking out, especially if you have PlayStation Plus. It's it's free to try on there, free to play it if you have PlayStation Plus Extra. And it's also probably on sale all the time on PlayStation. And it's also across
at this point, 2 years.
So it's 4 and 5.
Yeah.
So PlayStation 4 has it, PlayStation 5 has it. And you can probably pick it up for pretty dirt cheap.
Yeah, maybe I will. I keep threatening to go back to Assassin's Creed, but maybe it's time. Maybe this is it.
It's probably
this is it for me. I'm going to go back. Okay. Well, I've been digging into something that I've kind of had on my mind for a long time, and it's not anything that anyone cares about or thinks is special, but I want to take you back. I want to take you back to the true beginning of video games, the 1980s, when Choose Your Own Adventure books were invented. I actually don't know when Choose Your Own Adventure happened, but we
better figure that out.
Yeah, well, you take a look. So the internet probably knows, but it feels like Choose Your Own Adventure books were something brand new in the 80s. Like it was like, ooh. And Choose Your Own Adventure was pretty straightforward, just like if you want to do this, turn to this page. If you want to turn that, do to that page. But in Europe and in America, we each independently developed a sort of role-playing version of that same idea, where you would maintain stats, you would have combat, you could cheat and just turn the page if you win or whatever. That's what I always did. But in America, well, first of all, in England, they had something called Fighting Fantasy. And I want to say it's a guy named Steve Jackson or something who did Fighting Fantasy. And so you'll sometimes come across video games, even 10, 15 years ago, there were like PlayStation minis based on Fighting Fantasy and I want to say Steve Jackson.
Steve Jackson is correct.
In America, I'm pretty sure this is in America, we had something different. And I found out about this when I was in like 6th or 7th grade. And it was a year my parents had moved to a new town. I didn't know anybody. And I just happened to come across in the local public library something called Lone Wolf. And I was into Choose Your Own Adventure books. And it's like, oh, Lone Wolf. Well, that sounds like cool. Choose Your Own Adventure. And it was that. It was like you would have an inventory. If you had certain things in your inventory, you were, you could, provided that you didn't want to cheat or whatever, you could take different routes or different paths. You could spec your character with particular abilities, and all of that. And there was a pretty long running series, and I started, trying to find them and play through them whenever I could. And honestly, it's kind of cool. And I wonder if anybody is.
They were books?
They were books, yeah. And so this was called Lone Wolf by Joe Deaver, I think is the guy's name.
Uh-huh.
And I figured that I was the only one who knew. I've never heard anybody talk about it. I think there was something recently in the news a couple of years ago, something about that franchise, like somebody bought it or was going to do something with it. But there is a game on the PlayStation 4, Joe Deaver's Lone Wolf. And so I came across it a while ago. You could get the soundtrack was an add-on that you could just get for free, like the DLC. And I was like, oh, I'll get the soundtrack to Joe Deaver's Lone Wolf. But I finally came across it on PlayStation Plus. I think it's on the extra tier. It has to be, because that's what I've got. And I just decided, I'm going to try this out. There are other games that have recently come from that. Actually, there's something that's on mobile called Sorcery! Sorcery 1, 2, and 3. But basically the idea is this is a completely sort of literature-based role-playing game. And when I say literature-based, what I mean is that you don't play a 3D character a la Assassin's Creed running around. They give you a digital representation of a sepia-toned old book that you flip the pages virtually, and using some value-added technology, the page, you write your own story. Like this game is like, oh, you are going to write your own story. Isn't that a novel idea? But you can choose your character. You choose these special mind abilities called Kai powers. So in Lone Wolf, the Kai are sort of like the Jedi or what, they're the special. Like this actually, I think it reminds me a lot of The Witcher. Because this guy has these special abilities. He fights monsters. He's got this one holy sword, the Sommer sword, which I remember from the books. You didn't get that in the first few books, and then you eventually got it. And so in book 4 and 5, you had this in your inventory. But it wasn't always I remember distinctly. There's one time I'm yeah, I'm gonna pull out this amazing sword, but then it all of the dark powers all around me were attracted and killed me or something like that. So I remember the sword, and now in this game, I think they are progressed in the series to some extent where you've got this. The other books are history now. But the game basically gives you choices to make. I mean, literally, there's a little ring, and you can toggle your thumbstick in a circular menu and choose things that equate to either brute forcing your way through something, stopping and thinking about it, or using agility or other skills. But then on top of that, if you have certain Kai powers, you can do things like mind blast a guy from a distance and not have to fight him, or you can stealth yourself, or you can talk to animals or whatever, and those paths are just open to you as different options. When combat
so is it
happens,
like a solo D&D experience type of thing, like a role playing?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, you just choose your, the story is written in this book format, and it's in the second person. Here's an interesting little point of literary trivia: the only forms of literature that use the second person, you do this, you do that, are choose your own adventure books. I'm pretty sure that's the only time it's ever come up. Yeah. But it tells you, it's you scale the side of the mountain, and your agility is just sometimes there are skill checks where it'll be hit a button, like a QTE type thing. So you can sort of have a little bit of personal autonomy over, is this going to be successful or not? But mostly it's going to be based on what paths you can take based on the abilities that your Lone Wolf character has. And then sometimes combat will happen, and that goes to a Final Fantasy-esque sort of active time battle kind of situation, where you've got a meter that fills up when the enemies are going, and you are gaining agility. You're gaining not vitality, but energy. You're gaining dexterity or whatever, your ability point, kind of in Dark Souls or something like that. Mm-hmm. Because you can do attacks with your sword, and you can you can do an axe, a mace, or just a regular sword. Or you can do ranged attacks like throwing knives or shooting crossbows, or you can pull out your Kai powers that you chose when you spec'd your character at the beginning. And so you're constantly dealing with meters of energy, vitality, and then your Kai power, because every attack that you do uses up some of it. And then on the off turn, when the enemies get to go, you are building up you're building up energy, but you're also having to fend off their attacks, because they will pretty much hit you every time. You don't get enough dexterity to parry or whatever, so you get a shield at the beginning, and if you turtle with the shield, then you can typically do a retaliatory attack or something like that. And that's basically how it goes. And usually you're going to be fighting no more than 3 people at a time. And the orcs, I guess I would say, of this series are Gaiacs, and then there's like Drakons that are sort of like the big, ogre type dudes. And so as you go through the adventure in this game, and the opening adventure is that you are sort of the liege lord of this small fief, and you are going because there's some distress, but the town's already been overrun, everybody's been killed, and so you kind of are fighting your way through the ruins of this town to find survivors and to figure out where all of it's a mining town, so all the miners are sort of trapped in a cave somewhere. So the game takes you through different episodes and kind of different chapters, and then there's leveling up that happens in between. So you kind of build your max vitality or your max energy or your max Kai power or whatever, and then you slowly unlock additional abilities with this holy sword, this Sommer sword, which takes all of your Kai meter to use it, but it usually will do like a big giant attack that is really good. If at any point you fail, the game pretty much just lets you scroll back to, at any point you can go back and kind of read through the chapter thus far, and it will let you redo combat as often as you want to. You can even lower the difficulty if you want to. So it's fairly forgiving as far as how to go about it. The only thing that I think might be a turnoff for people is just the format. The fact that it is sort of trying to be loyal to its original printed book format.
Yeah, that seems kind of
weird. But it actually is really cool. And I have found that even it kind of makes me think about I do Dungeons and Dragons on Roll20 every couple weeks, a couple times a month. And I'm like, you know what? I bet I could run a campaign like this. Like, it's just written with a really good flow. There's always a good clip of things going on. The choices that you're making are always meaningful. There are sessions where you might need to pick locks, or you can use weapon abilities to break locks. You make dialogue choices with people that will either, they'll be your friends or not later on as well. So there are consequences later on, just like in these choose your own adventure or in the original Lone Wolf books. The music is pretty good. It's fairly repetitive, but it's the kind of music that you don't really mind. They've done a good job kind of making music that loops, the combat music that you hear very often, the sort of run-of-the-mill reading and making decisions and navigating the map and that sort of thing. The kind of branching locations that you get to choose from. You can sort of choose on a map where you're going, and then that determines how the story is kind of unfolds and in what order. And I don't know that there's a lot more complicated stuff to say about it, but that I've enjoyed when I've played the Sorcery series on mobile before. There's not Fighting Fantasy has been a thing in the past, and I played that, like I said, on PlayStation Minis. It's been a while, and they all kind of have ways of engaging you in terms of how do random choices get made, or how do you tell whether your skill is successful or not. And this game kind of goes through that as well. There's also an upgrade system, so as you're going through, you will find different materials. Sometimes your map areas that the nodes that you move to will have a shop where you can upgrade your equipment. You can repair. There is a durability system, so your weapons can break down. You can fix those up. And generally speaking, it's just a really good compressed experience. You can get through a chapter in half an hour, I would say, and then come back and pick it up later. And it is not anything super technically flashy, I would say, but generally pretty entertaining. And like I said, I have this background with the series, so I'm kind of like, ooh, it's kind of cool that someone decided to make a video game out of this franchise at all to begin with. It is, again, on PlayStation Extra, both on PS4 and PS5. It's a PS4 game, technically. And it might be something different. If you've never tried something like this before, that's sort of choose your own adventure-esque and reading based and inventory and skill checks and those kinds of things, it might be worth trying out. It's not gigantic to download, and try 20-30 minutes, see if it's your thing, and maybe it's not, but it doesn't cost you anything to do it. So that's Joe Deaver's Lone Wolf. I believe that there is some other, like I said, a couple of years ago, somebody was saying that they're either making new books or making games based on the series.
They are re-releasing the books starting next January.
That's kind of cool.
There's 32 of them.
Man.
The entire 32 saga is going to be released at the same time, but re-released with new covers. And
they should do the books like this. Like, I actually think this is a pretty good, Because the thing is that you're always having to keep track of your hit points and keep track of stuff. It's kind of nice in a situation like this to just have some software keep track of that for you and maybe have some nice music to listen to while you're doing it.
Yeah.
But it is kind of neat that they're redoing those books. So it's fun to think that there are people out there who share that with me. Because like I said, as far as I knew, I was the only person who'd ever really heard of it. So Joe Deaver's Lone Wolf, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. It is on PS Plus Extra and worth, I think, trying out for a week.
Cool.
That's it.
Well, I've got some new releases, courtesy of tech-gaming.com. First on the list, Evil West. This game actually looks kind of cool.
Evil West is sort of a you know how Red Dead Redemption had the Nightmare. What was the Nightmare expansion?
I know what you're talking about.
The evil, whatever it is. This is
Undead Nightmare.
Undead Nightmare. Yeah, that's exactly right. So this is sort of like the West of Loathing, I guess was the game. This is sort of like the Cthulhu evil. Yeah. So this is based on this. I think this is like a sequel to West of Loathing.
Really,
I think.
I
could be, there. Maybe no, I'm not. Now that you mention it,
this is like a 3D. Like it looks like Unreal Engine to me. Unreal Engine 5.
Oh yeah. Oh, Shadows over Loathing is the other one I was thinking of. So never mind.
This is like a cowboys, but you're fighting vampires, and it's really over the top. And I watched a review for it today, and it actually looks pretty cool. If it was it's not a game that's going to get me to drop $60, but if it ever comes to Game Pass or something else, I would probably
hype but not buy.
Yes, hype but not buy for sure. Dark Pictures Anthology, The Devil and Me. This is the next in that series. That's out. I believe is it on Game Pass? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
I think some of the other ones are on Game Pass.
The old ones are, yeah.
Also, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are out, so play those if you do. Also, Just Dance 2023. Also play that if you do. Yeah. No, we have a couple new Destiny guns that have been hit our inbox from our source within Bungie themselves. Chompy Chomp Party.
I came up with them this week, so I just decided to go goofy. Chompy Chomp Party, though, definitely has a Grimoire card and a whole backstory.
Oh, yeah.
With the Guardian.
Yep. And also The Awakening of Mummies.
Now, I might have made a mistake on this. The Awakening, I think, is one, and Of Mummies is another one.
Nope, The Awakening of Mummies.
It might be two Destiny guns.
No, they're dual pistols.
Yeah, there we go. The Awakening of Mummies.
And that's it. There's some sales going on. Obviously, it's Black Friday week, so everything's got stuff on sale. Something of note, however, the Xbox Series S has a sale for Black Friday. It's down to $250.
Down to mass market price.
Oh yeah, it's available on. I think that's probably a pretty good deal. As like this would be like a good secondary box. I think if you're down with 1080p, whatever. But
I think I am.
$250. So
nice.
Not a bad deal. Not a bad deal.
Nice.
Steam sales on. Also something interesting. PlayStation Plus. Yes, the PlayStation Plus subscription system is also on sale. The PlayStation Plus Extra, which is normally $100, is down to $75 for a 12-month subscription. Premium's down from $120 to $90, which is less than the PlayStation Plus Extra normally, which is normally $100.
Right.
And the PlayStation Plus Essential is down to $45 from $60. So,
and this is official. Like, you don't have to go to a third-party website. You can actually just do this from Sony.
Yep.
That's my understanding.
Yeah, so pretty good deal there. They're trying to get people in their ecosystem, and so I myself forgot to unsubscribe, so I'm back in for a year. So
Grant's back in, baby.
Yeah, and I've been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla on Game Pass, or whatever, PlayStation Plus. Nice. There's also an Xbox or a PlayStation sale going on, so pick up. Everything's going to be on sale.
Stuff is cheap.
Month.
Stuff is cheap. Get
Doesn't
cheap
really
games.
Matter. And that's
very good. Well, out in the news, a couple of big movings and shakings going on. The first biggest one that I think this is significant is that Blizzard and NetEase. NetEase is sort of the Chinese, I guess, Asian, what would you call it, like publishing partner in China.
Yeah.
Apparently, they have severed ties, and it seems like it's due to interpersonal conflict across those two companies. In fact, a NetEase Games executive blamed a quote-unquote jerk at Blizzard in a LinkedIn post. But the upshot of this is that Blizzard games are going to be halted in China, and that includes World of Warcraft, which has been previously available, will no longer be available. Overwatch 2 will no longer be playable in China. You have to think they're going to patch this up. I mean, somebody's got to fix this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
somebody will
I
publish
think
it.
could be somebody else.
Tencent's gonna get involved.
Yeah, right. But Tencent probably already owns NetEase. I don't know. It's kind of tough to say. But
they're gonna buy Activision Blizzard. Oh, wait a minute. They're gonna buy Microsoft.
We've been yeah, right. We've been over the last 3 or 4 weeks, we've been dishing on the the what would you call it? Like when people are spilling the beans about their personal problems out in the video game space on social media. Well, Simon Zhu, who is at NetEase, says one day when what has happened behind the scenes can be told, developers and gamers will have a whole new level of understanding of how much damage a jerk can make. Feel terrible for players who lived in those worlds. Rest in peace, players who lived in those worlds.
So he's like pointing the finger at one dude at Activision Blizzard.
Some guy
ruined the livelihood of millions of gamers in China.
Yeah, that's it. They're all resting in peace now. But this also includes Hearthstone, Diablo 3. This is all going to come to an end on January 23rd.
That's kind of a big deal.
It is kind of a big deal.
That's kind of a lot of money.
So
one dude's going to get fired over.
I guess someone here, NetEase chief executive William Ding, said, as cooler heads prevailed here, there were material differences on key terms and we could not reach an agreement. So I guess the idea of the jerk. He said, we will make sure our players' data and assets are well protected in all of our games. Anyway,
so
NetEase's share price
came out and like ranted, and they're like, "Wait a minute, that wasn't the PR."
Yeah, that was he was not media trained for that. No. Interestingly, NetEase's share price dropped about 10% in trading on Hong Kong's exchange last week as a result. But Activision's share price was unaffected. So
that's interesting, actually.
I think we kind of know who was the driver of that arrangement and who was not. I guess by that.
Yeah.
In other intercorporate relationships, Microsoft says that it offered Sony a 10-year deal to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation, says that Sony misled regulators about the nature of its relationship with Activision Blizzard at that time. 16 regulatory bodies around the world have launched investigations into Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard to assess the sort of antitrust possibilities that might be going on there. But Phil Spencer also, we mentioned this last week, says that he has pledged for as long as there's a PlayStation out there to ship to, that they will keep it on there. But Microsoft says that Sony misled regulators about the importance of Call of Duty to its viability, which that is some interesting language. Like Sony has some, I guess, innate valuation based on Call of Duty, which I don't know. I feel like I'm completely outside of that ecosystem, but that seems like fairly significant language. Like Sony depends
I have a
on Call of Duty.
cousin who plays almost exclusively Call of Duty games, and he has a PlayStation.
I mean, that checks out. So.
And he has a bunch of friends that play Call of Duty with him, and I don't know if they're all in the same boat. And he's played other games too, but Call of Duty is his jam, So,
well, and here's something that kind of speaks to that. Sony has specifically in the last few weeks, 3 weeks, I think, has kind of made some squawking sounds about the whole Microsoft acquiring Activision Blizzard. So, what do they say? It's the barking dog got hit or something. Is that how it goes? barking dog yelps.
That's about right.
So it'll be interesting to see this develop further. I think the only thing that's really going to interrupt this thing is the antitrust stuff, which I don't know. Maybe there is, and maybe that's what Microsoft means by this, is that Sony is not saying, oh no, they basically would be overstating to regulators that if Microsoft buys Activision Blizzard, that it'll be such a blow to them. That's probably what they mean by that, is that Sony is sort of saying that it's a bigger deal than it actually is, even though it is kind of a big deal, but not in the way that would cause them to shut down or anything like that. But anyway, right. Hopefully that makes sense. So this ongoing saga continues, and we will continue to keep you apprised as different regulatory bodies either approve or disapprove of this. I said, of the 16... I will
tell you something about Call of Duty. Having played... In fact, I was going to actually talk about Call of Duty today, but I did not. I've been playing a bit of Call of Duty, whatever the latest is. But they came out with their new free-to-play offering, the Warzone 2.
Yeah, Warzone, yeah.
But they also have this new mode called the DMZ mode. But outside of all of that, there's cross play across Xbox, PlayStation, and PC.
Oh wow.
And so I think it actually is in Activision's best interest to keep Call of Duty on all platforms because it keeps that player base as big as possible.
Yeah, right.
Because it is nice to, in that game, like when you fire up a game, you'll have different icons next to the players of what platform they're playing on. You'll have Xbox, you'll have PlayStation, you'll have a Steam logo, then you'll have a PC logo for people who just bought it on Activision's thing. But you can, like, every single round you're in normal multiplayer, you're playing with random players from all different consoles types or whatever. Yeah. And so I think that would be, and that's probably why Microsoft's like, yo, like, yeah, put it on everything because we want them buying our crap in the store.
Right. I mean,
that's
where
the long tail of Call of Duty is.
For that game, that's the thing, is you want a critical mass of people playing until you release the next one. I mean, as long as you can keep that riding high, then you just roll people.
Keep that battle pass money rolling in. Keep that, cosmetics. Like, there's a lot of cosmetics in there, and it's whatever. It's a first person game. I don't know why that matters at all. But people. You
get the little. Don't they do the little like gun charms or whatever, like little danglers?
Yeah, I mean, you can push the I button, like I on your keyboard in game, and your guy will actually take his gun and look at it, pull out the mag, and like, oh, this is neat, and put it back in, and
just like real soldiers.
Exactly. So there you go.
So as of right now, of the 16 regulatory bodies, only Brazil and Saudi Arabia have approved the deal, with others sort of saying that they're going to look into it a little bit more deeply. So we'll have to see how that goes.
It'll pass. It'll pass.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. Well, while we wait for that to happen, that is the end of our news for this week. Until we, except for this week, we've got our news speed run. Start that music.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla, guys, coming to Steam finally. I guess it's only been on Epic Store up until this point
for like 2 years,
or on Ubisoft's Ubi Store, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
They're also have announced that they're done making content for it, so they're not. I mean, they released 2 major DLC packs. There's a bunch of cosmetics in there, but they're done with that. So
that I think is kind of significant. I mean, I don't remember that sort of thing happening up to this point. Usually when there's a period of exclusivity, it's just a period of exclusivity and you still get some cool stuff later on. This is the first time I can think of where, now they're done with the Epic Games Store exclusivity on PC and now we're done making anything new for it at all. It's just kind of weird for an Assassin's Creed game to come out on a platform and be done with post-launch support. I just find that kind of weird. Interesting.
Yeah. It comes out on December 6th, by the way.
Well, speaking of a critical mass of players, Warzone 2, which is the Battle Royale mode, I guess, for Modern Warfare 2, I guess it's Modern Warfare 2, is that right? Has reached a mass of 25 million players in the week since it has launched. So
it's a lot.
That's plenty of people. That is plenty of people.
Bayonetta 4 is in development, and Hideki Kamiya says the dumb ending of the 3rd game will be addressed. I didn't know there was a dumb ending.
I've heard about that. He was either talking about Bayonetta or he might have been talking about Mass Effect. So I don't know. They might address the ending of Mass Effect 3 and Bayonetta 4.
Probably.
Nintendo, being Nintendo again, has issued a digital content millennial act on a third-party website that is offering Nintendo images for custom Steam icons. So if you want to have player icons, you better get those on the Switch or else.
That's right. And you have to pick the ones that they have chosen.
Yeah, that's right.
Team Ninja. Yes, the Team Ninja that made Metroid Other M. That same Team Ninja.
Oh, yeah.
They
thumbs up?
Yeah, a thumbs up. They were at a South Korean conference and they presented, and they mentioned that they are including Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive reboots as part of their plan moving forward. So
that's interesting. All right. Well,
Metroid Other M 2.
Ninja Gaiden is about to, because the last thing we had was Ninja Gaiden Black or Ninja Gaiden Sigma. That's right.
That sound right?
That was like 10 years ago.
Ninja Gaiden 3. It was like the reboot on Xbox 360, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. Well, if you are a player of Fall Guys, and you should be, because it's still fun and cute. In fact, my daughter had a guest over, and I was like, oh, you guys should play Fall Guys. And the friend was like, what is that? And it's still super cool and super fun.
Yeah, my kids were playing the other day too, by the way.
SpongeBob SquarePants and Skyrim coming to Fall Guys. That'll be this coming, I guess the season 3 is where we are, Sunken Secrets. So they'll have, I don't know where the Skyrim tie-in is, but anyway, that'll be coming out on November 29th.
Looks like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's third wave of DLC is coming out, and they're bringing a whole bunch of stuff. This is, I guess, free if you have Xbox or extended Switch
that called
Online.
the expansion pack, Switch
that's
Online expansion pack, something like that. Still some incredibly good stuff from across the franchise, including Mario Kart Tour, which is fine. London, the Game Boy Advance Boo Lake, Rock Mountain from 3DS, Maple Treeway from the Wii. Berlin, Peach Gardens, which is pretty good.
There's been so
3DS
many
Rainbow
games.
Road.
This is like the Super Smash Brothers of Mario Kart, right? Like
it kind of is. Like instead of getting the expansion pack, I just decided I was going to buy this content thing, and I'm really pleased with it. Like so far, you know, the courses are not like A tier courses. They're probably B or C, but they're still way fun. And so I get the family all together and we play some Mario Kart for a couple days straight, and it's worth it. Totally worth it.
That's cool.
Go
ahead.
Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which we mentioned earlier, and the new releases are launching out this week, but they have launched totally broken, lots of bugs. Maybe they're going to get patched, and people are finding ways to duplicate items and all kinds of things. As far as this podcaster's recommendation, I think it's time to jump ship from Pokemon, and I think Temtem is the new direction for the future.
Probably.
Genuinely speaking, if you are listening to this and want to play Temtem, which is basically a Pokemon style game that has a co-op campaign all the way through, cool looking monsters and everything, I will play Temtem with you. Just throwing that out there. Temtem.
All right. And finally, Yuji Naka has been arrested for insider trading during his tenure at Square Enix. This is the guy that worked on Dragon Quest and also worked on Balan
Wonderworld, which this guy just cannot get a break, which is too... I mean, I don't know.
Well, if he's breaking the law, insider trading.
Yeah, that's probably true. This just in, though, he escaped the city, in fact, by snowboarding down the street as semi-trucks chased behind him and crashed through everything. That's it. Guys, that is going to do it for this episode of your Game Bytes Show podcast. I want to thank you for being with us all the way to the end. LeGrand, my co-host, thank you very much for being here with me as well. Jared and Dale, hope you guys get well soon, or whatever's going on that prevented you from being here on the premiere video game podcast, The Game Bytes Show. Folks, if you have any comments about the games that we played, if you want to share what you've been playing, or if there's any news that we overlooked, let us know about that on social media. Social media place still Twitter. Find us collectively there at Game Bytes Show on Twitter. You can also find us individually. I am at Jeremy_Lamont.
I've moved on to Hive.
Mastodon. Is it Mastodon the other one that people are going to?
I don't know. I'm still on Twitter at Legrand. I'm also on Hive. Legrand was gone, but I picked up Legrand Jolly.
Really? I don't think I can bring myself to do any more social media. I think if social media ends, that's fine. Like I am also okay with that. Yeah. Yep. You can also find our co-host Jared is at RED_I on Twitter. Dale Jones is at Count Elmdor. You can also find us at youtube.com/GameBytes Show, where you can see this thing live, plus about 15 minutes of sort of low level us working on podcast outlines bonus every week here at youtube.com/GameBytes Show. Come subscribe, hit that alarm bell, be notified when we go live. Find us also at GameBytesShow.com. The entire back catalog of our podcast archive is there. You can also find a link to our Discord server there as well. Come join us, interact on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis, get some memes, get some freebies. We're still finding those and digging those up for you whenever they come by. Value-added Discord server, Game Bytes Show. Other than that, we'll be back next week to do this whole show for you again. We will inform you, edify you, entertain you with all the things that are going on out there in the world of video games. Until then, folks, this has been your Game Bytes Show podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Laters. That's cool. Be done by 10. I like that.
So do I.
Thumbs up on that video. Nice.
There's a dude that just popped up on my Steam playing Portal 2.
Really?
Yep.
The Portal 2.
It's like, I got this on the sale. I'm finally going to be able to play it.
For $1.99.
Hey, Portal 2 is pretty good.
It is pretty good. That's when you got to play the co-op missions too. I
did all the co-op missions in that.
Did you?
Yeah, that was fun.
I feel like I did them a couple of times.
Yeah, they tried to do like the Team Fortress 2 hats with like the little stuff you could get and trade and sell, and remember that?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I never did trading cards. I just never got into any of that stuff.
Yeah, it's dumb. I think I sold some trading cards and
I wonder
bought
if
it.
anybody is still doing like achievements and trophies.
I don't know. They still pop up. I was playing I wanted to play something on the Xbox. I was sitting there and I fired up Vampire Survivors on the console Xbox.
Oh,
And that game is way better with a controller, dude. Way better.
is it?
It's just more comfortable, you know. You're not using WASD. You're using an analog stick. Which
I
is
mean,
nice.
mostly you can generally. I mean, it's not like a Twitch reaction sort of game.
No. But it was hard to go back to playing that game without all the stuff I have unlocked and upgraded
Right.
and stuff because it was very slow.
Hey, Temtem is on sale for $35.99.
What?
I don't know. I might be a Temtem fan now.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Ragnarok. Dawn of Ragnarok. Wrath of the Druids. Siege of Paris expansions. There's 2 expansions. And then Dawn of Ragnarok expansion.
I have like 3 different vinyl releases for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. In addition to the main soundtrack, there's the Ragnarok expansion, and then there's somebody did this album of just like hardcore Nordic poetry chant or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Maybe that's my evening listening for this evening.
Jesper Kid is on the original game soundtrack. It's mostly him. There is The Weft of Spears by Einar Selvik.
That sounds like the one. Einar Selvik, I recognize that. Because they got like some legit Nordic poetry chanters or whatever.
Yep, that is that one. And then they have The Wave of Giants. That must be the one. There's more songs on there.
Ah.
So then there's Dawn of Ragnarok soundtrack. Oh, here's a playlist with all of the Twilight. What the heck is this?
What do I get?
Twilight of the Gods, Sons of the Great North, Wrath of the Druids, Siege of Paris, Dawn of Ragnarok. Wow, there's a ton of music.
Yeah, there is.
Huh, I'm gonna add this to my. I'm gonna listen to this.
I think Temtem might have been the other game aside from New Tales from the Borderlands and God of War.
I came across this quest in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and there was this dude sitting there, and he had an axe sticking out of his head.
Or was he like, "Hey, I gotta ask you for some help"?
He's like, "Hey, yeah, something's wrong," and he was like acting all weird, like he was dying, but didn't realize that he had an axe in his head, or didn't realize he was going to die.
That's kind of tragic now.
And you had to have this conversation with him, and then at the end, you have like little dialogue tree options, which is interesting in this game, and you could tell him like, "Hey, yeah, you actually look okay. I think you're gonna be fine," and you can tell him that, or you can say, "Hey, there's kind of an axe in your head, you know," and then. The thing with Vikings is they're like, that's okay, and I'll go to Valhalla and I'll be fine. And so she actually pulls the axe out of the dude's head and then he dies.
And he dies?
Yeah, it's like, there's some crazy shit in Assassin's Creed games.
That's
I
dark.
came across an Assassin's Creed Origins quest where there was this girl standing up on a cliff getting ready to jump and kill herself. And I had to go up and talk her off the ledge.
Wow.
Like legit. And she's like, well, I don't know. And my husband died and, you know, there's some pretty heavy stuff in those games sometimes.